Let's go over Caro Realm, otherwise known as Red Realm. Now, this realm has some of the best limited units in the game, in the form of Thighs, Gellet, Salvador. They have some of the best limited units in the game. Insane damage, low investment team that can clear any content. And Gellet having the highest burst damage of any unit in the game. That is their limited units. Standard unit wise, they have some of the worst standard units in the game by far. Most of them are unusable. That's why I do not recommend pulling for Caro standard banner. Their limited banners are very good. They have the best limited units, weakest standard units. So let's go over the main gimmick of Caro, the main function of Caro. They are mainly a bleed, low HP, kill or be killed realm. That's the concept. The whole blood furnace, healing up, losing HP, stealing your HP, sucking your HP, hurting yourself, being suicidal. If you're a millennial, if you're Gen Z, you would love this shit. That's their whole gimmick. Some Awakers like Dorothy deals more damage when your HP is lower. Some Awakers like Gellet heal based on your missing HP. So if you're almost dead, she heals you up for a lot, etc. Some Awakers like Faint helps you die more often. That's their whole gimmick as a realm. Blood, healing, losing health, doing damage. Now, what are they lacking? Poison. Agrepa's their only poison unit. They have lots of bleed units. Very few counter units, unless you count Fate or Thighs. So their whole gimmick is damage. Now let's go over their realm mechanic. They have two realm mechanics. One was added last year, which is the furnace. Before then, it was just babies. Let's go over the original mechanic they launched with when the game first came out. Embryos, otherwise known as babies. So, embryos. There is a bar on the screen that says 0 to 100%. When you hit 100% on that bar, you gain an embryo card in hand, or a baby. Every Caro Awaker can eat a baby. When they eat a baby, their Exalt gains an additional effect, otherwise known as Devour. They will automatically eat a baby whenever you Exalt, if you have a baby in hand. Now, this process of devouring that sweet newborn baby buffs their Exalt power to do extra effects. On Gellet, card cost reduction and all the bleed damage. Thorazine, you gain strength, crit damage, crit rate. Aegis, you stun. Pikmin, you get this. Basically, they love eating babies. Get their super Exalt out. Outside of eating babies, you can feed them babies. Feeding and eating babies are completely different. What does eating or feeding them a baby do? What does it mean by feeding them a baby, Flayers? When you drag the embryo card and you play it on a Awaker, you can feed babies to any unit in the game. You can feed them to blue units. You can feed them to ultra units. You can feed them to chaos units. Anyone will accept the baby, dude. They will accept the baby like Oliver Twist. Please, sir, may I have some more? When you feed them a baby, you give them 30% alienness and some crit rate and some other stats and bonuses, depending on if it's a super baby or not. Now, let's go over super babies. There's only one unit in the game that can transform the regular baby cards in your hand from regular babies to super babies. Thighs. That's why she's an S tier Awakener. So, We call them super babies. I call them super babies when I'm coaching, okay? Their actual name is Scion of Purity. It transforms an embryo to a Scion of Purity. No one is fucking calling them a Scion of Purity. They're calling them super babies. At best, born babies. What do you call? Fucking juvenile babies, teenagers, whatever. It's a slightly grown baby. It's a bigger baby, okay? And super babies. What happens when you eat a super baby? Well, when a wicker devours a super baby, their devour effect is triggered twice. So that means it's as if they ate two babies. So let's go over Jellet, for example. Jellet, when she eats a baby, she draws one card and reduces the cost of all of her cards in hand by 1. When she eats a super baby, she's going to draw 2 cards and reduce all the cards in her hand by 2. Very strong. Just double the devour effect. Whatever the devour effect says, a super baby does it twice. Except for Aegis. She can only petrify once. I'm sorry. In case any guys are wondering that. Pikmin does it twice. Just think of it as twice. Okay? It's the simplest way to explain super babies. Now, what happens if you feed a super baby to someone else? If you feed a super baby, they're going to now get, instead of getting 30 Alimus, they gain 45 Alimus. The baby effects are increased by 1.5 times the super baby. So that is the whole baby gimmick. The best baby maker is Thighs. Then it's everyone else. Then it's everyone else for themselves. Now, let's go over the second mechanic of devouring a baby. When a Caro Awaker devours a baby, you get the extra exo effect, and you get a little shield as well. This only occurs for the first devour each turn. The first time a Caro Awaker eats a baby. This only happens once a turn. You gain a shield based off HP and other stats and factors that I'm not going to cover. You get a small shield. I get 400. Some people get 200. Some people get 100. It's based on your stats and levels of your Awaker and levels of your account. Moving on. The next piece of mechanic that is quote-unquote new, not present when the game first launched, is the Furnace. Otherwise known as the big red bubble you can click on to heal up. At the end of every turn, or when you kill enemies, that little red bubble will fill up with blood and health. You click on it to heal. That is your use case for it 90% of the time. 99% of the time, you click on it to heal. What's that 1% of the time? Salvador. Salvador is the only Awaker at the time of recording this video that can directly interact with the Blood Furnace. Why is this the case? Blood Furnace was not in the game when the game first released. It was added when Salvador as a unit released. And before they changed it, you only get the Blood Furnace if you have Salve on your team. Due to complaints into how weak Caro was at the time, they eventually made a mechanic for the entire realm. But they, as of now, have not created another unit that takes advantage of the Blood Furnace, because it is originally Salvador's main gimmick. 99% of the time, if you don't have Salvador on your team, you're just using this to heal when you feel like it. That is the purpose of the Blood Furnace. As of now, it's just a healing bubble, okay? But what does Realm Mastery do for Caro? So I went over Realm Mastery on the other videos. Realm Mastery for Caro buffs the shield you get from Devouring based on how much Realm Mastery you have. You ignore it. You don't give a fuck. And gives you a little bit of temporary strength. You ignore it. You don't give a fuck about this. Don't give a fuck about this. Ignore it. You don't care about Realm Mastery. Now let's go over the units. Again, limited units. Gellet, best DPS burster in the game, period. Thorazine. I have a lot of complaints about Thorazine, but if you're a new player, Thorazine can one-shot all of story mode content and easy content for you. In the extreme late game, where I'm at, you will have issues with Thorazine as a limited unit. A lot of people do not like him extreme late game. If you're just starting out the game, you're going to one-shot most of your encounters if you hit Thorazine, if you pull for Thorazine. He's extremely strong because his space damage is very high. Extreme late game, you have issues. I go over it all the time in my tier list videos. Go over it if you want one explanation why. But right now, if you're watching this video, you're a new player, he's great. Pickman. Dies alternative. Dies. The best Caro support on the game, and arguably, according to most people, the best support in the game. Based on her ability to dupe cards and do everything. She gets strength, beats alias. She has everything a support could want. They'll probably not release a unit like her. We don't know. She generates a lot of babies. You get super babies. Salvador, strong unit, except for you choose between Gellet and Salvador. Sorel, another limited unit. She's only strong when extremely invested in Weldon. If you wail super hard on Sorel, she's pretty good now, with the recent buffs to her. She's one of the few units that can infinite devour without relics. What infinite devour is, when you exalt on Sorel, she eats all of your babies. Not one, she eats all of your babies. It's like that not Friends episode. That fucking Parks and Recreation episode with Ron Swanson. She's the Ron Swanson of Caro. When she says, I want all of your babies, she wants all of your babies. It's like when Ron Swanson goes to eat bacon. I think you might have misheard me. I did not say I want a lot of bacon. What I said is I want all of your bacon, motherfucker. That's what Sorel does. She eats all of the babies to do her exalt. That's her gimmick for her multi-hit. She eats all of them. Now let's go over the standard units and why they're currently bad for most players to pull on Caro standard. Now, there are 5 standard units, just like with every realm. It's Leigh, Uvash, Hellet, Agrea, Feint. Now, out of those, there are 2 DPS units you can get out of Caro standard. Uvash or Hellet. Hellet is rated low on most tier lists. She, even at endgame, if you really want to use her, she does not function as a main DPS. She functions as a filler sub DPS, a side DPS to your real carry. To your real carry, she functions as a partner if you really want to use her. Not as a main DPS, because her strikes and stuff does not scale that well into the late game, even after the buffs. Uvash, unlike Hellet, can be used late game if you use premium supports on him, if you have him over exalt. Why? Only if you have him over exalt. Before then, he's pretty weak compared to the other standard offerings. Probably one of the weakest DPS out of the standards. But when you have his overexalt, which means 8 copies, the effect is when he exalts, he fills your entire hand with his 0 cost. Not generate a lot of it. He fills your entire hand, which means if you have an empty hand, let's say you have the max hand size in Arc 1, which is 17, if you have certain relics and certain wheels, let's say that's the maximum hand size you can get in Arc 1 is 17. If you have the Cursed Relic, use my Costco, etc. If you have an empty hand, you get 17 0-cost attack cards. You didn't kill the boss. That's why he's very strong at 8 copies. Without 8 copies, when you exalt, you will only get, I think, 3. Let me double check and make sure. I think it's 3 or something subsequent. No, it's 0 actually. 0. Yeah, you want his overexalt if you really want to make him a carry, which means 8 copies. At 8 copies, he performs half, maybe 40% as good as some of the S tier limited DPS units, which sounds bad, but some of the limited DPS units are extremely strong. That is a pretty good thing to be. 40%. Power creep exists in this game. Being 40% of an S tier limited DPS unit is extremely good. And that's where he's roughly at, with a lot of dupes on him. But generally, most end game you use, S tier limited DPS, like in most games. None of these standard DPS units, except for Jenkins, really matches up to the S tier limited DPS they've been releasing. It's just, and with the limited stat buffs, the standard DPS kind of falls behind. So that's the issue with the game. I'm not gonna digress. You can go over my tier list video and you can see the comparisons of all my end game content. See how much damage limited DPS do compared to standard units. Standard units are relegated to support basically. So let's go over. So you can only get those 2 DPS, and one of them needs OE to function. So as an early game player, pretty bad. So let's go over the 3 support units. Let's go over the worst one, Leigh. Leigh, in every factor of the word, is the most power crept unit in the game. Ask anyone, they will meme about her stats. She is, factually speaking, not hyperbole, not anything. I'm not over-texturing. She is literally the lowest statted awaker in the entire game. In the entire game, she has the least stats, period. At level 60, she has 72. At level 90, she does not break 3 digits. At level 90, she has 99, 99, 99. That is her stat line. Compare that to another standard character from Blue, Caucus. Caucus, at level 90, is 215, 171, 187. Double or more than double her stats. And at level 60, he has 156, 124, 136. Let's look at Goliath. At level 60, he has 164, 160, 132. But flares, those are DPS units. That's unfair. Let's go to support units. Fucking Celise. 80, 76, 80, and she gives revives. But not even, let's go to the same realm she's from. Let's go to Thighs, which performs the same role as Leigh. So this is a meme. Thighs power creeps Leigh in every single mechanic. Every single factor, Thighs is better. Look at her Embryo fusion card. Unfulfilled Desire. Unfulfilled Desire, you gain 20 temporary strength. You lose 10% of your current HP. and you gain roughly 30% Embryo fusion maxed out. 30% Embryo fusion. 20 temporary strength. And you lose HP. Okay? Let's look at thighs. Her Embryo fusion card gives a minimum 40% Embryo fusion, gains Key Flare, inflicts 2 turns of Vuln, or 2 turns of Weakness, or an additional 40% Embryo fusion. Her other card gives another unit 20 Alimus, and gives her 20 Alimus. Leigh gives herself 10. And Thighs also gives 11 permanent strength. Permanent strength, meaning it does not go away at the end of the turn. In addition to that, her kit does even more than Leigh. But Flares, maybe with all these power creep, maybe Thighs have less stats to back it up. No. Thighs has 50% more stats than Leigh. Actually, she has double the stats of Leigh. I take that back. She has double the stats of Leigh. Her stats at level 60 is 140, 135, 126. Okay? And she is also a support character. Let's go back to Leigh. 72, 72, 72. You don't need to be a genius to know how power crept she has been. Now let's go over her abilities. Her strike defenses does not gain additional effects compared to other recent units that has power crept her hard. Her rouse, whenever she plays a card, you get Embryo fusion, 16 to 20%. Her other card is a retained pierce damage card. She does no damage. Why would you want damage on a support that does no damage here? Her Exalt, 12 permanent strength? Kidding me? Even the Soul Forge buff gets you 1 to 3 strength per card play. Wow. Thoracine gives you 60 strength per dirge. Dies gives you 12 if you play her card. Gellet gives you that much. This is on an Exalt, an ultimate ability. So yeah, she's probably one of the worst. People do use her. I use her with D-Tag. You know why? We have no other choice. There's not enough Caro supports. Caro's a realm with too many DPS, not enough supports. So you would still see her used, but is she good? No. It's a factor of people are desperate and they're using her. Let's go over Feint, the actual used unit, because of her DR. I do rate her low for most new accounts. I do not think she's valuable for most teams outside of a few meme teams. Her main gimmick is DR, dying. She prevents you from dying and she builds up that death resistance. That's her gimmick. That's her thing. You ignore all of her counter. Her counter is pretty mediocre aside from meme comps. That is her main role. That she excels at that role. She is the best unit to build up your DR. If you're a new player, however, if you are a veteran of card games, if you play a lot of card games, you would be fine. You will not die. That's the issue with Feint. That's why I rate her lower than most outside of meme teams like G-Dog Cheese on Wave 3 D-Tide Endgame. Watch my D-Tide guide videos to know what I am talking about. But generally speaking, if you're building a team, if you're coming to this game from another game, you will probably build a team that will not die, that will defend enough, that will kill enough. She does not buff your team meaningfully to kill the boss. She does not provide you enough strength, a little bit of strength. She does not provide you enough shields because all of her mechanics revolve around you dying. And I do not believe you should think with the mindset of I'm clearly going to die, I need to bring along feint that prevents me from dying. Personally speaking, from my perspective, that is a weak-ass mindset to go into the game. She will help you. However, if you get good at the game, if your team is good, she's just a brick on your team generally. If you're not using her for your revives. If you're going onto a stage, if you're going onto a boss fight, and you kill the boss fight without dying, you could have killed it faster. You could have killed it better without feint, with another support unit added into the mix that can help you kill faster, help you survive faster. So, most of you watching this video, because you're going out of your way to look up guides, look up resources for the game, which means you know how to tackle gaming in general. You're not entirely a new player. You have some experience. You will not take advantage of her Re5 effect that often. If you are following my guides, if you're building Costo, if you're following my guides to a T, you will never have to use her ability outside of Wave 3 G-Doll. That is my perspective on Feint and Celise. Now let's go to Agrea. Agrea, I rate her very low. Everyone rates her very low. Go at the Chinese tier list. She is borderline F tier. On every tier list you can encounter. I still use her. I still like her. I think her kit is great. I will not put her in C tier. I will not put her any higher than D tier. She's D or F tier. She's pretty bad, not because of her kit. Her stats are great. Her abilities are great. Everything about her is designed well. She's one of the best designed standard units in the game. She is so strong, but she is fucking useless. Y flares. Like in my original video 1 year ago, because this is a refresh realm guide video. This is the updated 2025 version. Her entire kit and gimmick is to buff poison units. Poison trigger. Poison. Everything about her kit is a match made in heaven for poison units. However, the best poison comps in the game right now are G-Doll, 24 Blue, or other things. Not Caro. You notice a thing when you're looking at all the Caro units at the time of me recording this video? Who are you gonna fucking use her in the Caro realm? That's right. Caro, at the time of releasing this video, and at this time last year, has not have a Caro poison unit for her to support. And current meta poison teams, let's say 24 Blue. 24 Blue can only work with Chaos and Blue units. You cannot put Agrea in. The only team you put Agrea in is G-Doll Poison. And G-Doll Poison does not need her. You can't even use her with, let's say, a shitty Daffodil Poison team in Ultra. Why? Because you can just use Daffodil with G-Doll instead. Because G-Doll is a better unit for a poison combination than Agrea. Until there is a Caro poison unit, Agrea will remain D or F tier on most tier lists. She has such a great kit. I love her kit. I rate her low. I think she's very strong. Her kit is great. I love her kit. I cannot stress how strong her kit is. Everything. The Embryo fusion is doubled. Embryo percentage. Cost reduction. 10% poison trigger. This is great. With what fucking Caro poison units, devs? With what fucking Caro poison units? Give us a fucking Caro poison unit. Where are my Caro poisons? Why are there fucking 15 fucking bleed bleeding. She's not on her fucking period. She's a fucking spider lady, okay? Her bottom half is all spiderly and poisony. All these fucking Caro DPS female awakers, male awakers with their fucking periods causing fucking bleed. What's the next Caro unit? Is there another fucking bleed unit? Another bleed unit in the million fucking bleed units we have in the game? The last fucking 10 units are all fucking bleed. Why are the devs doing this? Fucking Pollux isn't even a Caro. Isn't even a fucking blue unit. Isn't even a fucking what? He's fucking a bleed unit, dude. They made another bleed unit. Where are my poison units? Then we have one this year. We have G-Doll. And she's a supportive poison unit. Give us another poison DPS. When was the last time a poison DPS came out? A real poison DPS. Not a original support that was repurposed. Let's go back in time. What was the last poison DPS unit? Daffodil. You know when that was? Over a year ago. And she's not even a poison unit. She's a flex unit that can do poison or counter or damage. She's not even a real poison DPS unit. It's either 24 or Daffodil. Give us another DPS poison units so I can use Agrea. Where are the fucking poison? Give me the fucking poison. Stop having all these fucking bleeders. Okay? We have enough bleeders. Stop focusing on fucking bleed. I'm sick of it. Give me poison so I can use Agrea. So she's not D or F tier. Devs, she's been D or F tier for 2 years since the game came out. Since the game fucking came out, there's been zero Caro poison units. Fucking zero. Anyway, that is the Caro realm overview. I'll cover Wheel Jail here. This game is very dupe dependent, especially with the weapons. Now, wheels are the weapons in this game. So, when you plus 12 an SSR limited wheel, an SSR wheel, whether in standard or what. So basically a 5-star wheel, whatever game you want to call it. If you plus 12 a wheel, you can equip another SSR wheel. That is why you want to go to Wheel Jail and pull for Titan's Blade as soon as possible. I'm going to cover this in every realm video and every guide. This is the most important information for new players to know. Blue ensures you go to Wheel Jail as fast as possible. You can start working on your weapons. Once you're in Wheel Jail, you never leave. I am in Wheel Jail. Every player who's watching this video that's a vet and watching this for shits and giggles, they're in Wheel Jail too. It's a miserable place. We're all stuck in Wheel Jail. Okay? We're just pulling for wheels. Where am I gonna get all the other units if I only pull blue and go to Wheel Jail players? Rewinds. Every time you pull for limited units, you have a chance to off-rate another standard unit. That's the majority of where you're going to get your standard dupes once you enter Wheel Jail. And you use the rewind selectors they give out every Annie or every couple of months to rewind any standard unit in the game and then select key units from another realm. So you can go the entire game never pulling on dog shit standard banners like Chaos, like Ultrash, like Caro. You can only pull blue and never pull any of the other realms. And you can still get their good standard units by getting the standard selector dupes when you rewind a Pharaohs. When you rewind a blue unit you do not like. Or when you off-rate limited units and you just rewind that and you can use those selectors to pick and choose directly exactly what you want from each realm. No RNG required. People telling you to pull on Ultra, telling you to pull on Caro, telling you to pull on Chaos. You are wasting your resources. You are wasting your standard pulls that can be better used in Wheel Gel, better used elsewhere. Because you can off-rate those units in those realms, or just choose the good ones. Blue has the most usable units in the game in their standard banner pool, with high stats that can carry you through early game. Even late game, you can still use them with G Murphy. That is why it's extremely important for new players to just pull blue, get the Caucus, get the Goliath up, E3, E2, then go to Wheel Jail so you can start working on your weapons. You'll be in Wheel Jail your entire life playing this game, because you want as many plus 12 wheels to equip more of them, make your team more versatile. Remember, equipping 2 SSR wheels are very strong, because SSR wheels have doubled the stats of SR wheels. They have quadrupled the stats of R wheels. That's just how the game works.
Screams dominating battles, shattering dreams. Your trash realm we cast aside. You'll see us every D-tide. Blood furnace queens ruling supreme. Twice the damage, living the dream. And our support, a fucking meme. Trash like ultra weak, a fame. Blood furnace queens. Crimson flame. Trash realms burn in shame. Dupes your cards. Jealous wings flails, leaving scars. Edges petrify, stone cold death. Salver book protects no dying left. Blood furnace queens ruling supreme. Twice the damage, living the dream. And our support, a fucking meme. Trash like ultra weak, obscene. Blood furnace crims. Crimson flame, trash realms burn in shame. Dorsane sneers won't feast on your bones. Gold nobility or unworthy drones. Sorrel the Red Queen, Bath unfilled. Your weakness mocks your spirit kneel. We devour blood, exalt the fire. Self for mechanics, fuel desire. Heal it back, crimson tide. Caro's fury, queens won't hide. Queens won't hide. Ultra to players die 9 times. Trash realm echoes with their crimes. Their units aren't worth a dime. Ultra turn 1.